Hi everyone, Gianni Di Poce here with you for TheoTrade, and today is Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. And we started off the week with a bang. Peace deal signed with Iran just a few minutes apparently before the futures market opened on Sunday evening, sent stocks soaring to new all-time highs. Now, granted, the new all-time highs have been achieved in the S&P and the Nasdaq continuous contracts, but last week we did roll over to the September contracts in both the S&P and the Nasdaq, and we still have not hit new all-time highs there. Now, today we're seeing a little bit of profit taking from yesterday, and so the question becomes, is this another excellent dip buying opportunity, or did we just form a lower high in the September contract? Time will tell. Dow Jones hitting a new all-time high here, both in the cash and the futures, so that is looking pretty solid. Even the Russell 2000, after gapping up to new all-time highs, kind of going sideways a little bit. Yesterday was a day absolutely dominated by technology and semiconductors, but tech sector did not hit a new all-time high. Semiconductors did, so I still would not be opposed to see some more sideways action in semiconductors, even in tech. And, even with all the positive things that happened last week, I mean, you consider we had the biggest IPO ever. We had a red hot inflation report. We had, geopolitical rumblings, and the market took that all in stride. The strongest performing sector was not technology, it was actually basic materials. And I think this is very noteworthy because we need to see the AI trade broaden out from just semiconductors. It can't just be chips dominating the entire tape the entire time when it comes to AI. So when we look at basic materials, we think of strategic rare earths, REMX, being an ETF there. You think of uranium, they fall into that category as well. Did we just experience a false breakdown in uranium? That is a pretty enticing setup that I'm watching. In fact, I've even started to dip my toes into some trades like Centrus Energy. Did that last week. It is down a little bit today, but we did get a nice bounce off the lows. We'll see where we finish the session. Even indices overall, have been selling off for most of the day. Obviously, tomorrow is the big FOMC announcement. The Fed's not going to move on rates, but everyone is wondering, will Kevin Warsh come off as hawkish or dovish? It is his first press conference, and there's all sorts of statistics out there. Oh, the first press conference usually corresponds to negative stock prices, and stocks love to test a new Fed chair. Well, we got the test, guys. The Warsh got tested already. Let's not lose sight of the fact that the Nasdaq corrected over 8% in 4 days last week and formed a low. So that happened. Now, of course, we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. Will Warsh walk the market back off a cliff, or will we see a little bit more volatility? VIX doesn't seem all that concerned. VIX futures, you're about to roll to July here soon, below 16. VIX cash also below 16. So nothing crazy going on in that front. You take a look at some of the mega cap tech. Mag 7 holding their gains. Mag 10 down about 1.5%. But of course, we have to start looking at SpaceX when it comes to these. It was a little bit easier before because you had the Mag 7 plus AMD plus Broadcom plus Palantir. But do we call it the Mag 11, the Magnificent 11 with SpaceX, because this company's bigger than some of the Mag 10 names? So the stock's been up since it started. Honestly, I'm probably not going to touch this stock until late summer, early fall. I need to see a little bit of price action. I need to see some support and resistance form, perhaps some trends. Right now it's gone straight up. 3 days, can't really judge it. But where I come from, IPOs stand for it's probably overpriced. So, other areas of the market, AMD still going sideways. A lot of the chips like NVIDIA, even Broadcom, kind of forming some lower highs here. Worth watching in the near term. There's, of course, that chatter between Tesla and SpaceX merging. I have no idea if that's going to be true or not, but something that I am monitoring closely. Now, aside from stocks hitting new all-time highs here and there, I think the most positive bullish catalyst that we're seeing right here, right now, is crude oil's breakdown into my downside target that I've been sharing with you regularly. $75, $80 a barrel. We are here now. And there's a lot of momentum. The RSI is about to hit oversold here. This gives us a signal that bears are capturing momentum in crude oil, and this goes against all the fundamental analysis, all the oil company CEOs saying, oh, we're low on supply, we're this and that. You know, this is why I like to say the market prices in the future. The market is not dealing in the past. Okay. The oil reserves will be refilled. But where, at what price do they start doing that? Do we see this war gap filled at $67, $68 a barrel? Maybe I wasn't bearish enough. So we'll see what happens to finish the week, because this is a pretty big breakdown here. And it is, pointing to a drop potentially into the 65, let's say 65, $70 area, but, narrow it down a little more, 67, 68. That could be the big low in crude oil. And no surprise, you are seeing bonds rally in response. So there still are expectations for the Fed to raise short-term interest rates as late as, or as early as the end of this year, maybe beginning of next year. But you're seeing the reflection of lower expectations for inflation being priced in right now in long end bonds. This is why 30-year bonds are rallying right now. This is a very good sign for growth. This is a very good sign for tech. This is the confirmation signal that I needed to see. This is going to help market liquidity conditions. And, you are seeing the dollar back off some. The dollar is down against the euro. The euro is up today. This is also a very good sign, and also a very good sign for the international trade. International stocks have been outperforming U.S. stocks year to date. I expect that to continue so long as the dollar is not ripping higher. Remember, we are in a new regime whereby the dollar is going to be positively correlated with crude oil because of interest rates. When crude oil prices go up, interest rates go up, bond prices go down. People want dollars that pay higher rates of interest compared to euros and the yen, which, by the way, both the Bank of Japan and the European Central Bank raised interest rates in the last week. ECB was last week. Bank of Japan was this morning, today, depending on the time change wherever you are in the world. And what's crazy about the dollar yen is that still hasn't led to a pullback. When you had Trump walk back and say, hey, we're going to have that peace deal, the yen appreciated, but still seeing a lot of weakness in the yen. So is that the bigger story here? You haven't made a new high from the BOJ intervention at the end of April. But I wouldn't mind seeing, the dollar kind of just go sideways against the yen here throughout the summer. I think that'd be a really good thing for the market overall. Crypto, I see this as a fade the bounce type of rally, nothing to really get excited about. Now, one thing I've been trying to wrap my head around as well is, could we actually have a situation where the dollar is weak and precious metals go down with it? Because I'm still a bit skeptical on metals. You do have a setup for a potential bottom here in both gold and silver near term. We just haven't cleared important resistance. So still some things that we need to monitor closely. Not ready to give the all clear here, but gold and silver miners rallying nicely. We talked about basic materials being the strongest sector in the market last week. We do have a shortened trading week this week. Markets closed on Friday in observance of Juneteenth. But overall, guys, the trend is higher. We're still making higher highs and higher lows. Today is still an inside day. Don't let the noise tune you out of that. And I still think there's plenty of opportunities. A lot of stocks actually have increased my price targets on them lately. Still cutting the losses short, letting the winners run. That's the secret to big gains, and also knowing your break-even number. So that's going to do it for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the trade desk, the live room. Take care, everyone. Until next time.